Hello everyone. So we are here with the sixth podcast, and I'm not gonna give much disclaimer. Today we're just gonna talk about Marvel, the bad and the good. So let us begin.
Just a fair warning. We just watched the finale of Miss Marvel on Disney Plus, so there would be spoilers if you're watching this before completing the series.
Alright, so Dylan, what are your thoughts about Miss Marvel, the entire series?
Shit, absolute shit. Like they had gold, and they somehow hammered the shit out of it to make it shit. The first episode started off great. Kamala's personality, obsession with superheroes, doodling everywhere, a teenager in school, having lovable parents who care about her. Perfect! And then out of nowhere, they. Okay, let's start from the beginning. They are speaking Hindi, not Urdu, like the caption suggests. The songs are Indian, not Pakistani. Also, she's Pakistani, so it should make sense they should use something that is close to her place of origin. No offense to the soundtrack, it's still pretty good. It just doesn't represent what she represents.
They're all Bollywood songs, all of them.
And they're all in Hindi, they're not Urdu songs. Just another plus thing that I want to add. And the vocabulary for the family when it comes to the Hindi language. Arre beta, arre betho. It's like the actress learnt just 2 words and literally went with that for the entire 6 episodes.
And I don't know what was the need of an accent there, because both of the parents are like proper Bollywood actors. They do a lot of series, web series and all. They can speak Hindi pretty well. If they wanted to represent people who have traveled to America and settled there, even early on, they should not lose their accent while talking in Hindi, which is Urdu according to them somehow, and say, Arre beta, betho. No one talks like that. No one.
And now let's get back after that representation, that absolute mess of a representation. Kamala, in the comics, where she comes from, the inspiration for the series, she is supposed to be an inhuman. For those who don't know what an inhuman is, Marty will tell you.
Alright, so in Marvel there are a lot of, groups of individuals, enhanced group of individuals. One of them is of a set of beings that have specific superhuman capabilities. Those were created by the Celestials, like the Eternals, but not exactly the Eternals, alright? They're kind of an off branch of them, and they are led by Black Bolt and Medusa, their king and queen. They are known as the Inhumans. Now, in the comics, the gold thing, the epic, the godly Bible of fiction, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, is an inhuman which only has the power of extending her limbs and, changing her form.
Just like Mr. Fantastic.
Exactly. And how she gets it? She is a normal teenager walking, not normal apparently. And in the issue, due to some previous seasons, we'll have to explain a lot. We're not going into that. Terrigen Mist. It's a compound that unlocks the inhuman genes in your bodies, because apparently humans were also offsprings, kind of distant offsprings of inhumans. So some humans still have, passive inhuman genes in them, and Terrigen Mist activates them, giving them superpowers. So Miss Marvel got her powers that way. She got in contact with Terrigen Mist, which was never mentioned in the entire series. It was turned into a bangle.
Yeah, and let's like for other labels, as Kamala put it, X-Men are represented by those superheroes who were born with their powers that were mutated, like mutated genes through evolution. Basically, superhuman evolution is what X-Men represent. Inhumans represent those humans that got their powers unlocked after getting into contact with Terrigen Mist. And then you have the normal heroes like Iron Man that just have really good intellect, superhuman intellect, or Spider-Man who just got bit in the wrong place by the wrong spider and got the powers.
Let me do an educate, alright? Let me do a small educate here. There are a lot of type of superheroes like Dylan just mentioned. X-Men are mutants. What is mutant? A mutant is a being whose genes are being modified through evolution. No other reason. Evolution. Alright? Normal process. And Inhumans are beings that are above humans in the chain of biology. They are not mutants. They also have powers by birth, but they were hierarchically built different. And Celestials are another group. They are even above Inhumans. They were built hierarchically even above them. Those guys have all the powers. They just choose to master one of them. So, and now there are normal superhumans made by different reasons, like Hulk, Spider-Man. Different reasons. Apparently, those people also have very good reasons. Like Hulk's dad was a metamorph, like he could absorb things. That's why, due to his passive genes, he survived. Alright, there's a reason Hulk became the Hulk and not died of cancer by getting in contact with gamma radiation. And Spider-Man, due to his dad and mom working in Oscorp in the spider radiation department, again, passive genes. It's all about passive genes. Tony Stark was given to his dad by aliens. His intelligence is passive alien genes. Moving on.
So, as you can see, the Miss Marvel series has deeply offended any Marvel comic fans. I just want to point out the actress who said that the series is for pure Marvel fans. Fuck you. I just had to say it. I'm sorry.
We're gonna need it, alright? We're officially taking it to this step. Do whatever you want. We're gonna use the effort a lot in this one. We're gonna need it, alright?
It's like, I can understand where you're trying to come from. You're trying to promote the show, but please do not advertise this as what it is not. It is not based off the comics at all. Her powers are different. Her reason for her powers are different. Her fucking uncle is alive by the end of this show. I don't need to spoil you of what happens to an uncle in the fucking Marvel comics. So, let's continue.
So, the actress Dylan just talked about, he has even written an article about the same topic. Alright, so he knows about what he's talking about. Alright, this miss literally mentioned in an interview that this show is a love letter to true Marvel fans. Yeah, it's in quotes, it's her line. It's a love letter to true Marvel fans. True Marvel fans read comic books, madam. It has nothing related to the comic books. It is so different and so disturbingly different that it's hurtful. It's not a love letter, alright? It's a breakup letter. That's what you're giving. It's different.
It's like we gave you a recipe. Like, let's take the comic book as a recipe to make a cake. And what the producers for this show did is they took that recipe and they made pancakes out of it. It's not the same thing. It's still good. By any means, like, if you're the average viewer on Disney Plus without reading the comics, you'd probably still find the series decent. But if you actually read the comics, or if you actually, know the recipe for a cake, you would know that there is a vast difference, and it's very offensive to the people who who gave the comics, who literally it's supposed to be based off of. I can understand Marvel changing things here and there, like they did with Spider-Man, and they made the entire trilogy his origin movie. But that's fine. It works in the MCU's favor. It worked out great for him. I cannot agree the same with Miss Marvel. This is a change in the MCU that is completely unnecessary and no one asked for it.
I would like to have a small disagreement here actually. You know what? Do you know why she said it's a love letter to true Marvel fans? Because apparently majority of the dislikes and the arguments against the show are made by people who are not aware about Marvel, who are not actually Marvel fans. They're just watching a show and they do not like it because CGI.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, we've gotten a little spoiled by Marvel when it comes to the CGI department. We've been expecting a lot from it. Like, let's take this for example. Like you have a math paper. If you get 90 marks on it, that is pretty good, right? That's like an A grade right there. But if a CGI guy gets 90% of his work done, he'll still get criticized for the 10% because people will see that and they only complain about that. So when it comes to the VFX team, we all know they're getting underpaid and kind of tortured over there. So I kind of sympathize with that. I'm not going to complain about the CGI. It's mostly the writing and storytelling and how the character's been built.
So you see here, two Marvel fans have complaints about different aspects of the show, which just says it screams one thing: it's shit, and it's not an opinion, it's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the show, spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched it. Again, like, I don't know why you're still here. But
spoiler warning.
At the end of the show, the friend of Kamala, Bruno, he goes on to say that Kamala might be special, as in her genes might have a quote unquote mutation to it. And then she says, it's just another label. The entire show has been a label, a testament to how MCU needs to get back on track with taking the comics as much as they can for inspiration. And as for Inhuman being a label, by the way, they never mentioned Inhuman in the entire series. That is the core of her character. She is an Inhuman. She has to deal with that fact in her comic issues. But no, it's not even mentioned here. Even though she meets a family relative, and even can we talk about the family relatives calling themselves Jinn?
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Right. So, Jinn. What is a Jinn? Jinn are not definitely not aliens. Alright, they're not clandestines. Jinn is an ancient mythological being which typically grants wishes if it's a good Jinn, or kills you if it's a bad Jinn. Those are astral beings. They do not have a physical form without possessing someone.
If anyone's seen Aladdin, they know what a Jinn is.
Alright then. A bit of mythology freak was talking about. Okay, it's okay. So, those people are calling themselves Jinn and they lock their powers in a power bangle and they hid it in a temple. Indiana Jones shall that bench.
Yeah, I mean, like, the entire plot is just so out of nowhere. Like, Marvel is going out of their way to create original characters, which, by the way, they created a new label by calling them Jinn. They can't say Inhuman, but they created a new label calling them Jinn. They went out of their way. Like, Kamala has her own issues in the comics. She does have villains, she does have heroes, and she does have family. All that relate in her storyline in the comics. But no, Marvel went out of their way to make an original thing. for no reason. And it's not like they will continue to be a thing. That has ended within the series itself.
Yeah. So, I know we are full of rage about Miss Marvel because we just watched the last episode, but there are more things in the bad of the current Marvel, and some of those being out of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes, we also recently had watched Thor: Love and Thunder. Spoilers again, because we're going on a Marvel streak at this point when it comes to spoilers.
Yeah, because we recently watched it, very recently, the day it released in India. So, I hope you watched it. If not, spoilers. Okay, so a few things there. Firstly, the origin of God. Most of it is right, but the most important aspect of it is wrong. Let me.
Take the reins.
God is one of my favorite villains in the entirety of Marvel. There are many reasons because of it. Not MCU, Marvel Comics. Okay, firstly, in the actual origin, gods fell fighting on his planet, alright, and the burial procedure he did on his daughter here, son in the comics, that is actually not allowed in his tribe, and that's why he was outcast or outcasted. Okay, so gods fell, one of them had all black, one of the gods had all black. Only gods can wield all black.
What is all black? Might want to tell
All black is a sword, the necro sword that was built by Null, the god of symbiotes. Symbiotes, people, Venom, Carnage, Scream and all. I don't know if you all would know. Would they know? I don't know. There are many symbiotes that are famous, but Venom, alright, everybody knows Venom. If you don't, come on. And the shadow power, alright, this god was using in the MCU, those are supposed to be symbiotes. Hela's crown, Thor's sister's crown, is supposed to be made out of symbiotes. Thanos has a whole arsenal of symbiotes. He used to, experiment on them. It was his whole thing for centuries. So, they have not mentioned symbiotes once in the movie. The sword is made out of symbiotes. They shatter the sword, which is unshatterable because it's like a Bose-Einstein condensate. It cannot be. It's not a solid. It's not a liquid. It's a symbiote. It was made by the god of symbiotes, Null, who was not mentioned again. They showed that people wield it one by one, like Assassin's Creed mystic object or something. No, only gods can wield it, and God was able to wield it. How? Gods fell fighting. He took the power of one of the gods. Then he took the sword. Then he killed the other god, took his power. Then he went to gods one by one and killed them all, the ones he was able to. So that was God, alright, and he was the God Butcher, which was his title, and it was crazy in the comics. He is so feared that when his name is taken again, even Thor shakes. That's how brutal God was.
However, in Thor: Love and Thunder, when Gore is mentioned, he is literally treated as a joke 90% of the film. The movie itself does not take the plot seriously. Like, spoilers, children get kidnapped from the Earth, Midgard's Asgard. So, these children are Asgardians, one of them being Heimdall's son. Alright? What does Thor do about this? He makes a few jokes. He confronts Heimdall's son using, those all-seeing eyes of his, and then tells them to relax. they've been kidnapped by a person titled the God Butcher. He tells the kids to relax and that he's coming for them anytime. What does he do then? He goes to the fucking city of gods instead. He doesn't even... He doesn't go to Gore directly every time. And when he does, his travel makes no sense. You need the bridge. I forgot what you call that
Bifrost.
thing. Yeah, the Bifrost. You need the Bifrost every time he travels somewhere across the universe. But nah, even without it, he managed to get to eternity, which is supposed to be the middle of the fucking universe, in seconds.
He was using the hammer to summon the Bifrost.
Yeah, no, the hammer is fine. But then he didn't use the hammer in the last one. He used Zeus's bolt.
Right.
Let's not even forget, Thor's not the only one who managed to do this. Remember, at the very last, Jane Foster also showed up.
Yeah, just with Mjolnir.
Mjolnir doesn't even have the power to summon the Bifrost.
It doesn't. And how did she make it there? What the my goodness. Oh, and so this guy's whole thing for 3000 years had been to, kill gods, and he went to eternity. He succeeded in the movie, and he was at the stage he had to ask for a wish. And Thor, with just 2 minutes of talk no jutsu,
He took inspiration from Naruto.
Asgardian talk of jutsu, Rasengan, he completely manipulated him. Completely. From killing all gods, I want to revive my daughter. And die myself apparently somehow. Why did he die? Why did God die, huh? No reason.
No. In the movie they gave a reason that the sword was quote unquote infecting him.
Yeah, that infection is known as corrupting the mind in the comics, alright? It makes you evil, not kills you or steals your life away. But in the movie apparently it was like a cancer, which Jane Foster also had. And Marvel has done something new. It has created an original character, which is none other than Chris Hemsworth's own daughter, and in the movie is Gore's daughter, which is somehow due to which she is alive and she has powers because now she is revived because of eternity, which is messed up.
Let's not forget, she said that they have mentioned very clearly that the child has the power of eternity.
Yes.
So she's technically already a much bigger god than Thor will ever be.
Yep, that is right. She has the power of one of the strongest beings in the entire Marvel multiverse. And she's already going on missions with Thor, apparently, killing aliens and stuff. Nice fatherhood lessons, Thor.
Hey, Chris Hemsworth already done the same in real life. He took his daughter to Disneyland and he got on a roller coaster. She was apparently too short for it. He put Snickers bars in her shoes to make her come into the ride. And guess what? The seat and the belt was too big for her, so he literally had to hold her while the roller coaster was going around. If his hands were there, well, you can guess.
Father of the century, Thor. Jump in a pool, jump in a lake out of 10,000 above rocks much.
Cliff. Just call it a cliff.
I don't
Jump
want
off
to.
a cliff.
It gives it so much meaning. You remember the scene in that movie? What was it? Extraction. Yeah. He was not Thor in Extraction, and he pulled something even Thor would, think twice about doing. You remember the length of that cliff? My god, the height! He would have... No normal human can do that. Okay, we are not on the topic. Let's get back to the topic. Any other bad thing you remember about Marvel recently?
Can we mention how Jane Foster never goes bald or goes through chemo?
Ah, so apparently in the comics, even after holding the Mjolnir and becoming Mighty Thor, she's still struggling with the internal battle, like I'm gonna die and everything. But in the MCU, as soon as she, holds the Mjolnir, she's like, "Yay! What's my byline?
Catchphrase.
What's my catchphrase? How many aliens am I gonna beat? What are all my powers? Look how cool I am." And as soon as she lets go of it, crippling depression, vomiting, death, bed, and everything.
It's like she is two different characters in the same movie. The story is about to be how she's trying to hide her cancer and still fight. But every time she holds the hammer, she does not look as if she's battling cancer anymore. She does not look as if she's depressed anymore. She actually looks a lot stronger, feels a lot, well, she is a lot stronger, but fact is, they're two completely different characters. You would not say that this is the same Jane Foster. She's not Jane Foster when she holds that hammer anymore. She's just another Thor.
And apparently her entire origin is also different here, because in the comics, Odin himself gave her the Mjolnir, which was intact, and he was like, "I'm gonna change the incarnation and incantation and everything." But in the comics, it was due to lovey-dovey
In the
feelings.
movies.
In the movies, it was due to lovey-dovey feelings, and probably after having, can we say? No, I don't think I should say.
No.
Probably after doing
Fornicating.
stuff to each other, which is
Fornicating.
apparently romantic and physical. So he was like, "Mjolnir, please protect her always." And Mjolnir thought of that to, input that data as an incantation, and it did. And that's why it chose Jane Foster over Thor Odinson. Simp much, Mjolnir. It's broken, but no reason to turn into a simp.
Moving on. Let's take our steps even further back. We've got Multiverse of Madness as well.
The horror movie.
The Multiverse of Madness, which featured two universes.
Multiple. Two mostly, yes.
Yes. And
It should not have been Doctor Strange. It should have been Wanda Multiverse of Madness, by the way. But anyways.
yeah, I mean, even not Wanda, just Multiverse of Madness, because there are technically three main characters in this movie.
America Chavez.
Yeah, so just Multiverse of Madness, make it its own concept. Like, different characters, like in this, they could make it Multiverse of Madness too, have different characters jump into multiple universes. That would make a lot more sense than having it just be called Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, because when you see the movie, you realize, again, spoilers. No, it's not spoilers, it's on Disney Plus now. So, Doctor Strange, once you watch this movie, you would feel that he's not the main character anymore. He is more of a supporting member. Like, Wong has more of a support than Doctor Strange in this movie.
Yep. And we understand that Wanda is messed up and everything. Alright. But even motherhood does not do that to you, and even insanity does not do that to you.
Coming to Wanda, yeah, like as Marty has said. Are we just gonna forget that WandaVision existed? Like, they completely acknowledge that WandaVision existed because they use the WandaVision theme when they're about to bring Wanda into the movie. But they never acknowledge that she's already gone past. She has moved past her wanting family, wanting vision. She's moved past that. That was the whole concept behind WandaVision, the show. Yeah, granted, we saw her using the dark hold in the post-credit scene of WandaVision, but that does not mean she goes back to just wanting her kids. Why doesn't she want Vision anymore then? Why doesn't she want her brother anymore then? Why is it just focused on her kids? They have corrupted the character that Steve and Clint have fought for in the previous Avengers movies, and I don't just Marty take.
Okay, so by the way, they are not doing justice to the kids, because the kids of Wanda in the comics, they're actually aspects of Mephisto's existence, and that's a thing. So yeah, they are demon spawns in a way, but good ones, and they exist. So they have not mentioned Mephisto once in the entire Wanda arc.
MC is not worth it at this point. Not at this point in time, at least.
And that's just unfair. All right, they're very strong. You wanna make them real, but make them real in a real manner.
It's kind of like MCU Phase 4 has come to a point where I am scared to who will be the villain of any movie, because apparently Phase 4, any villain that comes in dies immediately, so there's no continuation. Like Loki is a good villain, he's continuing, but he's been removed from the MCU. He's somewhere in the multiverse right now. Another good villain was Thanos. He was also continuing in the phases. He died, unfortunate, but a very good build up to his death. Phase 4 has none of that. Every villain that has come on screen has died instantly so far. So I am very, very scared if they ever do introduce Mephisto, because I feel like they'll one-shot him if they do get him in.
Yeah, it's like Satan's was okay because that's what he was supposed to represent. That Thor is powerful. And he did that pretty well. And he went down destroying the entirety of Asgard. So that's a good death. It got a lot of meme attention as well. But I don't think villains in Phase 4 are getting that justice anymore. The entire Phase 4 is kind of an injustice to Marvel.
Injustice to Marvel's villains, especially. Like, heroes are still getting the spotlight, that's fine. Villains are not. And you know what they say, like, heroes can only be as good as their villains.
Inaccurate spotlight though, but okay.
Yeah.
Alright. So I think we are not seeming like Marvel fans anymore. We should change that.
Yeah,
we should talk about the good. Because no matter what, Marvel still has a lot of good in it. Alright? It's not the DCU yet.
Like, for example, the Shang-Chi film. It is.
I'm sorry, I take my words back. I need to talk about one more bad thing. So, Shang-Chi, the 10 rings. The 10 rings. Ring. If you want it, you gotta put a ring on it. Ring.
I think everyone's got it, Marty.
Rings are to be worn on fingers. Finger ring.
Hey.
No, finger ring. Okay? In the comics, and apparently the entire point of it that makes sense. Those rings are for, 10 rings, 10 fingers. Why are they 10 otherwise? हाँ? ऐसे ही? मजे आ रहे थे बस? There are 10 rings because there are 10 fingers in normal humans. Sorry, Hrithik Roshan. Yeah, and each ring, they are not the same thing. The pull, push thing. No. Each ring has a specific power, and their combination, the increased number of ring a certain individual possesses, the power of each ring increases. I'm gonna go over the 10 rings. 1. Left hand, pinky finger, ice blast. Very obvious, it blasts ice. Ring finger, Mento intensifier. magnifies the psychic energy of the wielder. Alright? Middle finger, electroblast. Electric blast, very obvious. Index finger, flame blast. Do I need to explain that? Thumb finger, white light.
Okay, you might want to explain that one, Marty. You might want to explain that one.
It emits white light and different types of energy from electromagnetic spectrum. White kind of represents everything.
Oh,
Like
in the science field, yes.
in prism theory, all
okay, yeah.
lights are all colors are contained in the white light.
Yeah. In the science part, white represents all colors. Yeah, in the science part.
Yes. Okay. So right hand, pinky finger, black light.
Hey, you just...
Now I'm gonna read the official definition of what it does. Creates areas of absolute blackness where all light is absorbed.
You mean Africa?
It is believed that this ring accesses the dark force used by people such as Dark Star.
You mean the Nigerian prince?
It's very dark, alright? So ring finger of right hand, disintegration beam, very obvious. You get hit by beam, you disintegrate. Middle finger of the right hand, vertex beam, causes air to swirl at a very high rate, creating a vertex. Index finger, impact beam. You get hit by beam, very high impact on you. Alright, like TNT beam.
Or a repulsor beam.
Yeah. Thumb of right hand, matter rearranger. Can't go more obvious than this.
Reality store. Kinda.
Not that powerful, but yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the 10 rings. And in the MCU all observed. Kya hua tha? What happened with the rings?
The rings turned into
Wristbands of different sizes connected to each other.
maybe. This is just my theory. I could be very wrong knowing how Phase 4 is going so far, but maybe those will transform into rings, considering that those rings do shape, like their sizes do change within the movie itself. So maybe it will turn into rings for someone. Maybe
what about the 10 individual powers? Huh?
Like at the end of the movie, Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner said that Bruce Banner and Wong, both of them said that this bangle is emitting something. Maybe it still has to be unlocked. There's something has to be unlocked, cause like you said, like Wong said that the previous user had never unlocked this part. It was not emitting something before Shang-Chi took over. So maybe it will get something added to it soon enough.
Also, Mandarin is not the father of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Very different character. Please read about him. He's pretty cool. Iron Man's one of the best villains of Iron Man. And Iron Fist. Alright. Going to the good now. My god, Marvel has a lot of bad, huh?
Now, coming to the good, I was going to talk about Shang-Chi.
Oh. Oh shit.
I was going to mention that this is probably Marvel's first movie in Phase 4 that is showing choreography that's equal to Winter Soldier.
Yeah. It has good fight scenes.
Yeah, and considering that the actor Simu Liu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
No, nobody cares.
He's only
Asian.
worked previously in that show I do. It's like a slice of life comedy show called Kim's Convenience.
Of course, Asians.
You know we're Asians, right?
I don't care. Now that we are Asians, I have even more right to roast Asians.
That's not how this works. But okay.
That people can say the N-word.
Hey! Anyways. Shang-Chi has good choreography. Multiverse of Madness, no matter how bad some things are in it, the CGI is pretty on the spot. Thor CGI, the fight scene on Eternity. That was pretty good. Let's talk about, well, when it comes to Phase 4, really the spotlight can only shine on No Way Home.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That good movie. It's a fucking footnote
Hey,
in cinematic.
Loki and Moon Knight as well.
Oh yeah, Loki and Moon Knight are one of the best Disney Plus series that
Ever.
Marvel has.
Alright, and they're awesome. I really can't complain about them.
I have had some friends of mine, unnamed bisexual people, complain about Moon Knight CGI, and really, like, give me one article that complains about it. I know there probably is one, but I'm trying to state that it's not that big of an issue. It really isn't, because Moon Knight is like, it is perfect in how it's created. It is in the MCU, but it does not make a point to attach itself or make a cameo with any other properties of Marvel. It's a standalone series that exists within the MCU. Hopefully we'll see Moon Knight somewhere down the line with the other heroes, but it is a damn good show, worth a watch. Definitely gives a good representation to the DID community.
Yep. And you know what matters to me personally the most is comic accuracy, both in designs, in story, in origins, and in costume designs. Alright, mostly. So Moon Knight really played well because it was very accurate. It was not too much. It was not too less. It had accurate fight scenes. It had the right story. It had the of course the actor was awesome. Come on, he just aced it.
Oscar deserves an Oscar.
Alright, and we really can't complain because I don't see anything wrong with it. Alright, the costume is awesome. All the scenes are awesome. The story arc is awesome. I'm repeating myself.
There's one more thing that Marvel got right with Moon Knight that it hasn't managed to do with any other property so far. The female lead. They have perfectly represented how a female lead should be in a superhero franchise. Now, in Moon Knight, if no one has watched it yet, it features... Yeah, that too. But it features Stephen Grant, or technically Mark Spector's wife. I forgot her name.
I also forgot.
But basically, she also turns into a superhero by the end of the show, and no one, not even a single person, has claimed that it was a feministic or approach or anything like that. It was perfect because she was representing her own character. She was not going out of her way to say, oh my god, I am a female and now I am finally in the world of man. No, none of that. We have recognized her since the beginning because she has represented herself. She has gained the powers herself. She fights for her own cause, and that is the perfect way you can have a female actress act as a superheroine in the show. Like, remember in Avengers Endgame, there was this whole scene where all the female actresses were coming together. They're like, there's an army out there. They're like, don't worry, we'll handle it. And all of the females come next to Carol Danvers, and like Mantis came. Like, what the fuck is Mantis going to do? She's gonna what?
I know, right? I mean, alright, you all are, individually strong female superheroes. We respect you, we praise you. पर ये नारी मोर्चा चलाने की क्या जरूरत है इसमें? हर चीज़ में फेमिनिन क्यों घुसा देते हैं? हाँ? What is this? This is not a problem with Marvel. ये audience की दिक्कत है. क्योंकि उनको चलता नहीं इसके बिना.
English.
नहीं मैं rant कर रहा हूँ. I don't want people to understand. हर चीज़ में फेमिनिज्म का जरूरत नहीं होता है. Understand humans. People, please. The ones who actually respect women are gonna do it anyways, and the ones that are not, they're just gonna take it to their hearts and not gonna take it in a good manner, and you're overdoing it at this point. And respecting women is not about hearing about feminism all the time. It's about being a nice person to all people, to all humans and animals, all living beings that exist.
Yeah, this is the problem that some Hollywood movies face, like especially the new version of Charlie's Angels that came out. There was
फिर आ गया?
yeah, there was
My
one.
God.
Now, it's a good movie. All right, I'm not gonna. It's a good movie when it comes to quality. Again, it's the same thing as Miss Marvel's show. Like they had premium ingredients, they still managed to make a fucking shit out of it. Now in Charlie's Angels, the recent version, the new one, modern era, there is only one morally good human being in that movie. Every other male has been depicted to be an evil asshole who is corrupt and is selfish and greedy. Now tell me, how are you going to sell that movie when you've targeted 50% of your audience to be the villain? How? I know you're going for a feministic approach, but that is toxic femininity.
Talking about bad female characters, I remembered one more bad element. Remember Taskmaster in Black Widow?
Okay, just to point out, we're not taking a shot at actresses here. We're taking a shot at Marvel for their casting decisions and their story writing decisions for this one.
Firstly, in the comics, Taskmaster is awesome. Alright? And if they would have kept it the same, we would have equally appreciated a female Taskmaster. If they could have kept Taskmaster, not android controlled by her evil stepdad or something.
I know, right? Like Taskmaster has been his own, like he has been in control of his own body since birth, and even in his comics, like he was so in control of his body that he had gained his powers in his teenage years, maybe even in his childhood years, not sure.
Taskmaster is one, unique character which is literally a human so talented that it's considered a superhuman power. Like Shang-Chi in the Marvel comics, his martial arts are so high skilled that it is now considered a superpower. That kind of a person is Taskmaster. His memory is impeccable, and that is true for some humans as well. There are people who have perfect memory. There actual humans exist, and this guy can mirror image anything he sees, and that's his power, that's his ability, and he has worked on it since birth.
And that is a natural thing, not something that was embedded into his skull with a microchip.
Exactly, it's not an android thing, all right. And he can speak very well. He roasts Spider-Man and did. He's awesome at it.
Yeah, even in the comics, like in the last run of Spidey's comics, Taskmaster and some other characters, they were in Kraven's Hunt as well. They were responsible for collecting all the bug-themed superheroes and villains, and they had such a good banter, and it also showed Taskmaster's fighting skills as well as his personality. And it is so different than a fucking mime being controlled by an evil organization's head.
I know, right? How many super villains do you see go head to head with Deadpool and even Punisher at multiple events and always survive?
Let's not forget the Avengers as well.
They don't kill.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Punisher kill.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah. So yeah, he survives because he's got the talent. Also, he cannot mimic superpowers because he mimics.
And he is a human being who mimics. He's not a supernatural being.
He does not have super strength.
Yeah, so he can mimic fighting styles. He cannot mimic powers.
Yep. Shang-Chi would be very upset meeting.
Yeah.
सालों की मेहनत एक ही दिन में.
Yeah, and let's not forget Taskmaster's considerable weakness is that every time he learns or memorizes a new skill, he has to sacrifice a portion of his memory.
Of his personal memory, which is not fighting skill related.
So every time he gets more skilled at something, he becomes less of a relatable human being.
Alright then, alright. We are reaching the end. We have gone on too much now. Alright. So, despite all our rants and misleading opinions. Misleading in a way that we don't like Marvel.
Yeah, like we love Marvel.
Marvel.
They've done a great job till phase 3.
We love the comics. We love MCU. We have high hopes for it for the future. So, all the best, Marvel, and thank you for listening to us rant. Like, share, and subscribe. All right. Sayonara.